If you're an atheist, Madalyn Murray O'Hair is heroic. If you're not, she's at best a curiosity and at worst the most dangerous person on the planet. That makes her at the very least an extremely controversial woman. But Madalyn Murray O'Hair says she's not here to win popularity contests. She's here to enforce the separation of church and state. And if she can separate you from your church in the process, well, that would make her happy too.
The thing is, I am not a humanist, I am not a witch, I am an atheist. And an atheist is different. We simply don't believe or don't accept the ideas of God, heaven, hell, prayer, life after death. And we're adamant in our position because we feel that those ideas are stupid.
She is founder of American Atheist Incorporated, editor of American Atheist magazine, and national figurehead of the atheist movement. But for all the titles, she says she is still perhaps best known as the most hated woman in history. That might be carrying it too far, but that's Madalyn. If nothing else, she is undeniably outspoken.
We've been imprisoned for blasphemy, we've been fined, we've been tortured, we've been murdered. The murder of atheists is one of the aspects of history that someday history has to look at.
30 years ago, young Bill Murray complained that he was forced to pray in his Baltimore public school. His mother, Madalyn, was outraged. A violation of church and state, she said. She took it to the school board and took it to the courts, and after years of lawsuits, took it to Washington. In 1963, the United States Supreme Court banned prayer in every public school in the land.
Atheists are in difficulty any place. If an atheist is married to someone, they can get in trouble in their marriage. They can get in trouble with their parents. They can get in trouble with their children. They can get in trouble with their job. So that atheists do not come out of the closet.
She is sometimes dismissed as a loud and litigious troublemaker. But what many don't know about Madalyn Murray O'Hair is the depth and breadth of her education and experience. She is a lawyer and PhD, and for 15 years worked as a psychiatric social worker. She has read and studied the Bible, civil engineering, and aerodynamics. She earned 5 battle stars as a second lieutenant in World War II. But it's her stand for atheism that's made her a household name.
She was my first guest 24 years ago. Madalyn Murray O'Hair is back. Boy, oh boy, did you light up the switchboard.
Loved or hated, she's a hit for the media. Audiences grow agitated at the mere mention of her name, and to many she is the devil incarnate, intent on destroying the very fabric of Christianity.
I think what you've done really strengthens religion, and I think this...
Oh, horrors.
Well, here, let me tell you why.
Religion is the enemy.
Well, that's your view. Okay.
Yeah.
In fact, she says, she is merely working to ensure the separation of church and state, which would guarantee all religions their right to worship, as well as her right not to. As it is, she says churches drain more than $1 trillion a year from the federal coffers through tax exemptions and government grants, and make it difficult for anyone to admit in public that they don't believe in God.
One of the reasons that we're here is that we're asking atheists to come out of the closet. There's nothing to fear out here if you really come out.
She's been arrested numerous times for the atheist cause, but most of her fights have been in court. She's sued to prevent astronauts from praying publicly in space, to keep nativity scenes off of government property, and to have In God We Trust removed from coins and bills. She even burned a jury summons that would require her to say, "So help me God," in court.
This is what I think of the jury summons of the state of Texas, and this is what I think of their idea that all atheists must state that they have a belief in God in order to serve on those jurors.
Madalyn freely admits that she's been fighting an uphill battle in a land so deeply rooted in religion.
Everyone has talked today, and we yelled about the importance of being positive, of being proud, of being an atheist.
In an unpretentious building on a quiet North Austin street, Madalyn, her younger son John, and Bill Murray's daughter Robin oversee printing, broadcast, and legal operations that make this the largest atheist center in the world. The television show airs on more than 100 cable outlets nationwide.
3, 2, 1. Acute health.
Hello there, I'm Madalyn O'Hair, back again with the American Atheist Forum.
30 years in the atheism business has made Madalyn no stranger to trouble. Even her son Bill, who helped start the whole thing, is now a born-again Christian evangelist and enemy to the cause. But today the movement is seeing changes even from within. Only 34 people joined American Atheist last year, and most of the 41 chapters nationwide have pulled the plug on their Dial an Atheist phone lines and closed the doors. But Madalyn says consolidation of money and energy will only help the organization focus the fight. At a recent convention in Austin, hundreds of atheists marched to the Capitol in support of the cause.
So we are calling for the total, complete, and absolute elimination of religion in American culture.
At the age of 73, Madalyn would like to slow down. She says she's tried before, but every time she does, someone reminds her of why she's here.
I just wanted to let you know, pure and simple, that I care about you and that Jesus loves you very much, in spite of the fact that you may not believe.
See, you spoiled it all with the last sentence. Yeah, don't you worry. Nobody can pierce my armor.
All right, thank you, sir.
Christians always are praying for you and trying to save you. What's your reaction when they call up on a show and they'll say, you know, we're praying for you, Madalyn?
I feel that that's terribly insulting. I can't imagine that anyone would attempt to include me in their prayers.
You know it is not their intent to insult you, though.
Yes, it is.
Oh,
If you know Christians, yes, it is their intent to insult us. They are a hostile people when it comes to anybody who challenges their belief system. And they are basically hostile with me. That the outreach of saying, I'm praying for you, is saying, I will overcome what you think. I will overcome what you want to be. And I will see to it that you are turned around somehow from a source greater than you are. And that's hostile and insulting.
Don't they see you, though, as harassing them for their beliefs?
Sure they do. I used to say all the time that I was 180 pounds on the hoof of their disbelief, because everybody in the world at one time or other, everybody, and I even individualize this for you, has thought, oh, there couldn't possibly be a God, or this would not have happened. And that's the doubt that I represent, and it's in everybody's mind.
So you're their worst dream, their worst fear.
That's right. I'm their dark side.
Is it your goal to try and wipe out Christianity, to talk to on the planet, to talk to every Christian and say, look, this is wrong, you're wasting your life following this path?
I think I would like the best of all possible worlds to be a world without any kind of religion.
But you would not challenge my right to believe and to put a bumper sticker on my bumper that says, you know, Jesus saves and all the rest. You don't want me in your life or the person next to me life. Is that really
That's
what your
right. I would
objection
think
is?
you're an idiot, and I would laugh at you. But you know, the one thing that infuriates religious people is that I laugh at them.
People think you're the devil itself. You find that in some ways amusing, and you try to use that as a lance, don't you?
Well, if people believe in God, they have to believe in the devil. Religion without something to be rescued from is no good at all. I find it's amusing. I do use it back on the people constantly. As a matter of fact, when I was debating with Bob Harrington, I was called a witch and a devil so often that one time I just entered the stage on a broom. And I said, well, here she is. And that didn't set well with my listeners or viewers either.
Going back to when you began this, your son came home and said there are prayer in schools. Did you have any particular interest in atheism? Did you have any stake in religion or anti-religion at the time?
Well, I was what I now term a closet atheist, because I had been an atheist since I was in the 5th or 6th grade in school, as much as I can remember, and had always lived my life according to what I conceived atheist principles to be.
What did you think they were?
Just that I could not accept the idea of life after death, or the idea of a soul, or the idea of prayer being efficacious and being able to solve problems through the use of prayer.
And yet it was Bill that came home from school and said, they're making me say prayers in school?
That's right. And I challenged it that day that I enrolled him in the public schools.
And what kind of reception did you get when you...
You wouldn't believe it. There was astonishment, I think, is the first reaction. The school's reply was to say, well, your son would remain in the school classroom and bow his head during the prayers, because after all this was a religious ceremony, and so that he would not insult his peers, he would move his lips as if he were saying the prayer. And it was at that point that I exploded and said, no way, Jose.
Now, when that happened, and this is where I first heard of you, obviously, as
Yes.
everyone else did, when on the evening news, it talked about Madalyn Murray doing this lawsuit
Yes.
removing prayer from public schools. Physically, you had people coming to you, didn't you?
Oh, yes.
You had to flee Maryland?
We did, actually. Our house was attacked so many times that I became quite an expert glass repairman. Anybody that needs glass repaired in their home can call on me. I know how to deal with the putty and cutting the glass the
People
right
throwing
size.
rocks at your windows?
That's right. We had bullets through the front window, we had bullets through the back window, and we had bullets through the back door of our car.
Well, this was harassment. They were doing
Oh,
things
come
up.
on, you know.
And then you decided that Texas was a place you could
Well,
live
it
in?
wasn't as bad as Baltimore, and it wasn't as bad as Hawaii, so Austin, Texas at that time was an extremely beautiful city, and we enjoyed it a lot. So since we had been here for about a year and everybody knew we were here, and we had no place else to go, we stayed here.
All right. So then you said about trying to create a center here, and this, which takes us to an argument we've had. You sit in a paid-for $1 million building, but generally speaking, you have found along the way, atheists are not joiners. They're not givers, right?
It's more difficult to organize atheists than it is to organize anarchists. The other thing is that they are diversified backgrounds. We have persons, men who are pro-abortion, men who are anti-abortion, and almost all the women are pro-abortion. But we have Republicans, Democrats, they get together and they fight. They will immediately start a fight about politics, about socio-cultural things. The other thing is what reason can a truck driver and a PhD who's teaching chemistry in college, what reason have they to meet together socially? They don't.
So does that mean that in the long pull, atheism will never be a national movement? Will it just be a collection of people and their thoughts?
I think that it might be a collection of people. We tried to mount chapters, and at one time we had 45 chapters, and we found out that all the chapters did was meet and fight with one another.
Isn't there a glue that these people are atheists, and shouldn't that then put some of these other arguments to the side?
It's not glue enough. It is glue if they are challenged themselves. As soon as somebody has their child forced to pray in school, you wouldn't believe how quick they get thick with us.
I say people like you, Ralph Nader, maybe to a lesser degree a Candy Lightner, people who for some reason or other get caught up in a cause.
Yes.
Here's the word you hate, abdicate their life, because you cannot have a normal life. You know, Nader still, I guess, is not married. He lives in an apartment and you have a car. The point is you have abdicated, it seems to me as an outsider, your life, any normalcy in your life for a cause. Has it been worth it? Do you still disagree?
Yes and no. I disagree with you, Ed, because this is extremely stimulating intellectually. We don't have a dull day, believe me.
But emotionally, you've paid a price. You can't, I mean, John was not a football player in junior high, was he?
No.
The kids aren't very social. You're not social. When's the last time you had a date? I mean...
Oh, well, let me see. In '78, my husband died, and that ended that. I'm upset because neither one of my children, neither Robin nor John, are married or are living with somebody. I feel that they should have the right to have that kind of relationship. I feel that they should have the right to have children. But it's extremely difficult. For example, Robin, my God, this is a bright young girl. And who's she going to meet, and what kind of a background of a man would satisfy her intellectually?
But this is exactly to my point. You've taken this road, and this is one you took, okay?
Yes.
But your children...
Sweep them along with it.
Now, and they're not going to have much a better chance than you are, because they're going to carry on after you, right?
That's right. That's right. And I understand that. And sometimes I worry about it. On the other hand, I find that they feel that their life is stimulating, exciting, fulfilling.
But what will you leave them? You're talking about chapters don't work because atheists can't get along. You have a national organization here that you have to pay for the printing and all the rest of the stuff.
Yes.
You have been the lightning rod on this issue for 30 years.
That's right.
So what legacy will you leave, not even just them, but anyone else who would want to take over leadership in atheism in this country?
Well, there has to be another person like myself. And I think that both John and Robin have the capacity and the capability.
But you're here, and it's failing already on a national level.
On
put in
those
chapters.
levels,
Yeah.
that's right.
So what future is there?
I don't know. There may not be any. Right now we are extremely nervous. 1/3 of the world right now is atheist. At least 1 billion persons are atheist, and 80 nations are atheist. But I wouldn't give all of that to atheism for the future, simply because of the power of communication, the power of television, the power of the words that we have, and our ability to reproduce them in a video form. People can be indoctrinated faster then they can be taken out of that indoctrination. Actually, I would like to see more religious broadcasting because they are such dunderheads, and anybody watching them can see how phony they are. And I think that this is why Swaggart and Baker and the rest of them went down the tube.
It catches up with them, huh?
All you have to do is watch that, and it is as phony as a $3 bill. Okay.
But with all the battles you've lost, one son is one direction, the social life you've lost, but if you look back, would you consider your life has been a success?
Oh, yes. I think I'm an unqualified success as a parent, believe it or not. And certainly as a cause person with one of the most difficult causes that anyone can attempt to involve themselves in. Yes, my life has been well worth living, and if I had it to do all over again, I would do everything the same and probably make all the same damn dumb mistakes and all of the same successful moves.